भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कृष्णे गते भगवती शास्त्री उत्पथगामिनां तद्भिन्ना सेतुन आद्या अहं शास्मि पश्येत मे बलम्।
After the departure of Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead and supreme ruler of everyone, these upstarts have flourished, our protector being gone. Therefore, I myself shall take up this matter and punish them. Just witness my power.
इति उक्त्वा रोषातां राक्षो वैस्यान् ऋषिबालकः कौशिक आप उपास्पृश्य वाग्वज्रं विसर्जजाः।
The son of Rish, his eyes red hot with anger, touched the water of the river Kaushika while speaking to his playmates and discharged the following thunderbolt of words.
इति लङ्घिता मर्यादं तक्षकः सप्तमे हनि दंक्ष्यति स्म कुलाङ्गारं चोदितो मे तद्द्रुहम्।
The Brahmana's son cursed the king thus: on the seventh day from today, a snake bite will bite the most wretched one of the dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit, because of his having broken the laws of etiquette by insulting my father.
ततो अभ्येत आश्रमं बालो गले सर्पकलेवरं पितरं वीक्ष्य दुःखार्तो मुक्तकण्ठो रुरुदः।
Thereafter, when the boy returned to the hermitage, he saw a snake on his father's shoulder, and out of his grief he cried very loudly.
सावा अङ्गिरशो ब्रह्मन् श्रुत्वा सुतविलापनम् उन्मील्या शनके नेत्रे दृष्ट्वा शंसे मृतोरगम्।
He threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying, whether anyone had done him harm. On hearing this, the son explained to him what had happened.
विसृज्य तं चाप्रपच्छा वत्स कस्मादधीरोदशे केनावाते अप्रकृतम् इति उक्ता स न्यवेदयत्।
Mataji, can you scroll down? Or thank you, Mataji. The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed.
Sorry,
Although
excuse me, please. It is the 40 verse 40.
oh, sorry, that's my bad. Sorry, that's my apologies.
It's okay. No worries. No worries. It's okay.
He threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying, whether anyone had done him harm. On hearing this, the son explained to him what had happened.
निशम्य सप्तं तदर्हं नरेन्द्रं स ब्राह्मणो नात्मजम् अभ्यनन्दत्। अहो बातां हो महद् आद्या ते कृतम् अलिप्य अल्प्यासि द्रोह उरुर्दमोधृता।
The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed, although he should have never been condemned, for he was the best amongst all human beings. The Rish did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary, began to repent, saying, Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son. He has awarded a heavy punishment for an insignificant offense.
नावे निर्भिर्नरदेवं पराख्यं सम्मातुम् अर्हसि अविपक्वबुद्धे यत्तेजसा दुर्विसाहेन गुप्ता विन्दति भद्राणि अकुतोभया प्रजः।
Oh, my boy, your intelligence is immature, and therefore you have no knowledge that the king, who is the best amongst human beings, is good as the personality of Godhead. He is never to be placed on an equal footing with common men. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by his unsurpassable prowess.
अलक्ष्यमाणे नरदेव नाम्नी रथाङ्गपानाः अयम् अङ्गलोकः तदा हि चौरा प्रचुरो विनङ्क्ष्यति अरक्ष्यमाणो विविरुद्धवत् शनात्.
My dear boy, the Lord who carries the Lord who carries the wheel of a chariot is represented by the monarchical regime, and when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves, who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered land.
तद् आद्याना पापम् उपेति अनन्वयम् यन्नास्तानाथस्य वसुर्विलुम्पकात् परस्परं घनन्ति शपन्ति वृञ्जते पशुंस्तयोरथान् पुरुदास्यवो जनः.
Due to the termination of the monarchical regime and the plundering
downstairs, isn't it?
of the people's wealth by rogues and thieves, there will be great social disruptions. People will be killed and injured, and animals and women will be stolen. And for all these sins, we shall be responsible.
तदार्या धर्मा प्रविल्यते नृणां वर्णाश्रम आचार युतास्त्रैमया ततोरथा कामा अभिनिषेता आत्मनां शूनां कपिनां इव वर्णशङ्करः.
At that time, the people in general will fall systematically from the path of a progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagements of the castes and the orders of society and the Vedic injunctions. Thus, they will be more attracted to economic development for sense gratification, and as a result, there will be an unwanted population on the level of dogs and monkeys.
धर्मापालो नरापतिः स तु सम्राट् बृहच्छ्रवा साक्षान्महा भागवतो राजऋषिः मेधयात् शुद्धक्षमा युतो दीनो नैवश्मच् चापम् अर्हति.
The Emperor Pariksha is a pious king. He is highly celebrated and is a first-class devotee of the personality of Godhead. He is a saint amongst royalty. He has performed many horse sacrifices, and as such king is tired and fatigued, being stricken with hunger and thirst. He does not at all deserve to be cursed.
अपापेषु स्वभृतेषु बालेन अपक्वा बुद्धिना पापं कृतं तद् भगवान् सर्वात्मा शान्तुम् अर्हति.
Then the Shri prayed to all the pervading personality of Godhead to pardon his immature boy who had no intelligence and who committed the great sin of cursing a person who was completely free from all sins, who was subordinate and who deserved to be protected.
तिरस्कृता विप्रलब्धा शप्तः क्षिप्ता हता अपि नास्या तत् प्रतिकुर्वन्ति तद्भक्ता प्रभवोऽपि.
The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves.
इति पुत्रा कृताघ्नेन अनुप्तो महामुनि स्वयं विप्रकृतो राज्ञा नैवाघं तत् अचिन्तयत्.
The sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously.
प्रयासा साधवो लोके परेर्द्वन्द्वेषु योजितः न व्यथ्यन्ति न हृष्यन्ति यत् आत्मा गुणाश्रयः.
Generally, the transcendentalists, even though engaged by others in the dualities of the material world, are not distressed, nor do they take pleasure in worldly things, for they are transcendentally engaged.
Thus, and the Bhakti Vedanta purpose of the first canto, 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Maharaja Parikshit cursed by a Brahmana boy. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Vamsi Dhari Prabhuji. Today we have a very special speaker who has been in Krishna consciousness for a long time. Vamsi Dhari Prabhuji will be facilitating in chat for the first time. He is an initiated disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. In addition to being actively involved in book distribution and other temple services, he gives very deep and realized classes at Soho and the Manor temples and other forums like Learning Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. He is a very humble devotee, as when I messaged him to give me some information about his spiritual journey, he wrote back, just say I am just trying to be a devotee. So devotees, tonight we are very fortunate to have his blissful association and enjoy the session. Thank you. Vansidhari Prabhuji, over to you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Rasalila Mataji. I'm amazed where you managed to get my introduction from. Thank you for your kind words. I don't deserve them, but I will gracefully make an attempt to discuss something from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is purifying for my own self and hopefully enlightening for everyone else. So I'll quickly do an invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shamana Kirtanaha Hriday Antasto Hai Abhadrani Vidunoti Shluhit Satam Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Gyanati Yeshu Vairagyam Gyanam Chet Ahetukam Yasyam Vaishruyamananam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhaktir Utpadate Pumsa Shokamoha Bhaya Apaha. So, Raslila Mataji, am I discussing still 18th chapter verses 46 and 47?
Yes, please, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. And can someone open up verses 46 and 47 from the database?
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, can you please share the screen? Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. We will just go straight to the purport, 46. Usually you all read purport. Sorry, I'm asking questions as this is my first time.
Yes, Prabhuji, we read the verse and the purport as well.
Purport. Okay, so let's go
Thank
to the
you.
purport. Okay, thank you very much for the verse 46. Okay, here we go. Dharmapalo narapati satu samrat prihatshravah sakshan mahabhagavato rajarishir hayamedhayat Kshutrit Shrama Yutodino Naivasmat Chapam Arhati. Translation: the Emperor Parikshit is a pious king. He is highly celebrated and is a first-class devotee of the personality of Godhead. He is a saint amongst royalty and he has performed many horse sacrifices. When such a king is tired and fatigued, being stricken with hunger and thirst, he does not at all deserve to be cursed. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. After explaining the general codes relating to the royal position and asserting that the king can do no wrong and therefore is never to be condemned, the sage Shamika wanted to say something about Emperor Parikshit specifically. The specific qualification of Maharaj Parikshit is summarized herein. The king even calculated as a king only was most
in the night time before this. So
Can everyone go on mute if possible?
then they would put the air conditioner as low as they needed. So
The king, even calculated as a king only, was most celebrated as a ruler who administered the religious principles of the royal order. In the Shastras, the duties of all castes and orders of a society are prescribed. All the qualities of a Kshatriya mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter 43rd verse were present in the person of the emperor. He was also a great devotee of the Lord and a self-realized soul. Cursing such a king when he was tired and fatigued with hunger and thirst was not at all proper. Shamika Rishi thus admitted from all sides that Maharaj Parikshit was cursed most unjustly. Although all the Brahmanas were aloof from the incident, still, for the childish action of a Brahmana boy, the whole world situation was changed. Thus, Rishi Shamika, a Brahmana, took responsibility for all the deterioration of the good orders of the world. Text 47. If you could scroll a little bit. Apapeshu swabhrityeshu balina pakva buddhina papam kritam tad bhagavan sarvatma kshantum arhati. Then the Rishi prayed to the all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead to pardon his immature boy, who had no intelligence and who committed the great sin of cursing a person who was completely free from all sins, who was subordinate and who deserved to be protected. Purport. Everyone is responsible for his own action, either pious or sinful. Rishi Shamika could foresee that his son had committed a great sin by cursing Maharaj Parikshit, who deserved to be protected by the Brahmanas, for he was a pious ruler and completely free from all sins because of his being a first-class devotee of the Lord. When an offense is done unto the devotee of the Lord, it is very difficult to overcome the reaction. The Brahmanas, being at the head of the social orders, are meant to give protection to their subordinates and not to curse them. There are occasions when a Brahmana may furiously curse a subordinate Kshatriya or a Vaishya, etc. But in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, there were no grounds, as already explained. The foolish boy had done it out of sheer vanity in being a Brahmana's son, and thus he became liable to be punished by the law of God. The Lord never forgives a person who condemns his pure devotee. Therefore, by cursing a king, the foolish Shringi had committed not only a sin but also the greatest offense. Therefore, the Rishi could foresee that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead could save his boy from his sinful act. He therefore directly prayed for pardon from the Supreme Lord, who alone can undo a thing which is impossible to change. The appeal was made in the name of a foolish boy who had developed no intelligence at all. A question may be raised herein that since it was the desire of the Lord that Parikshit Maharaj be put into that awkward position so that he might be delivered from material existence, then why was a Brahmana's son made responsible for this offensive act? The answer is that the offensive act was performed by a child only, so that he could be excused very easily. And thus the prayer of the father was accepted. But if the question is raised why Brahmana community as a whole was made responsible for allowing Kali into the world affairs, the answer is given in the Varaha Puran, that the demons who acted inimically towards the personality of Godhead but were not killed by the Lord were allowed to take birth in the families of Brahmanas to take advantage of the age of Kali. The all-merciful Lord gave them a chance to have their births in the families of pious Brahmanas so that they could progress towards salvation. But the demons, instead of utilizing the good opportunity, misused the Brahminical culture due to being puffed up by vanity in becoming Brahmanas. The typical example is the son of Shamik Rishi. And all foolish sons of Brahmanas are warned hereby not to become as foolish as Shringi and to be always on guard against the demoniac qualities which they had in their previous births. The foolish boy was, of course, cursed, excused by the Lord, but others who may not have a father like Shamika Rishi will be put into great difficulty if they misuse the advantages obtained by the birth in the Brahmana family. So these are the two verses we are discussing today. Before discussing these in my own words, I would like to seek all of your blessings and blessings of all the acharyas in our parampara and all the Vaishnavas, so that I can speak something relevant. So as you can see here, that Shringi was a immature boy, and immature boy was endowed with great prowess because of his father Shamika. But Shringi didn't know how to use his prowess, and he has unduly used his prowess in actually cursing a righteous king. This king, Parikshit Maharaj, he is not an ordinary king. He is a Rajarishi. Does anyone know? This can be an open question, open discussion also. So, if you have questions, I will ask questions, and if you have answers, please feel free to unmute yourselves and give answer. Do you know which all kings in Bhagavatam, for those who have read or those who have heard, are called Rajrishis? Can you give any other examples other than Parikshit Maharaj?
Ambrish
Hare
Maharaj?
Krishna.
Ambrish Maharaj, yes. Who else?
Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj.
Yudhishthir Maharaj, Ambrish. Who else?
Janak Raja.
Janak Raja, wonderful. So 3 on 3, there's one. So
Is it Dasharatha, Prabhuji?
Ramchandra. Thank you. Wonderful. This is an amazing group. You gave all 4 answers. That's amazing. So these are the highest quality persons who were called Rajrishis, and Parikshit Maharaj is actually one of them. When the situation of Parikshit Maharaj is that he has been cursed by a Brahmana boy. Very similar situation was with Ambrish Maharaj. He was also cursed again by a Brahman, Durvas Muni. When Durvas Muni actually cursed Ambrish Maharaj, Sukdev Goswami briefly mentioned it. And as soon as Sukdev Goswami briefly had mentioned about Ambrish Maharaj as son of Nabhag and told that he was cursed, immediately, after a few verses, Parikshit Maharaj immediately said that Bhagwan Shrotum Ichhami, that I want to hear about Ambrish Maharaj. Why? Bhagwan Shrotum Ichhami Rajarishi Dhiyataha. That Rajarishi, he's not an ordinary king, he's a Rajarishi, and on top of that, he's a devotee. Na Prabhud Yatra Nirmukto. He said that one cannot become free from a curse. Brahma Danda Duratyaya. Because Brahma Danda, which means a curse given by a Brahmana, is Duratyaya. It's impossible to overcome. It's literally impossible to overcome. And these are the words of Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj wanted to listen more about Ambrish Maharaj, and he wanted to know how Ambrish Maharaj dealt with a curse which was given by a very pure Brahmana and which was impossible to overcome. In that case, the person who was giving a curse was not a boy. Do you know any other situation where curse was made from Bhagavatam? There are many instances.
Yes, Prabhuji. Narad Muni cursing the 2 sons of Kubera.
Kubera, yes.
Kubera and Manigriva.
Yes.
And also there is the 8 Vasus. They were cursed.
The 8 Vasus were cursed?
Yes.
Yes.
To come down to this material world when they stole the cow of the Rishi. I forgot the name of the Rishi now, Prabhuji. Is it Kapil Dev Puni? No.
I don't remember myself, Mataji. But you're right,
Okay.
They were cursed by a Brahmana.
Yeah.
There are more curses in Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone remembers? So, Vasishtha Muni, he cursed. Vasishtha Muni, oftentimes we have only heard about Durvas Muni cursing. And so we have given him a name, Durvas. We could have called him Suvas. but we call him Durvas because he becomes angered very easily. But in Bhagavatam, there is one more personality who oftentimes is actually a very great personality. He's alive even now, and as we speak, but he also is sometimes in the mode of ignorance, and he curses. And the name of the rishi,
Vishwamitra?
not Vishwamitra, but he also cursed. But there is another. Who did Vishwamitra fight with?
Before the Vashishta Muni?
Vashishta Muni. So Vashishta Muni also is into this habit of cursing, but Vashishta Muni regrets it. But Vashishta Muni cursed one of the sons of Ikshvaku, and that son was he had vowed to become a brahmachari and protect cows throughout his life. But in the dark of the night, he accidentally threw the sword on the tiger, but actually it fell on the cow, and in the morning cow was seen dead. So in an accident he killed cow. But Vashishta Muni had cursed this innocent person who had dedicated his entire life to protecting cows, and told him that he should be a Shudra, and he will go to the hellish planets. In this case, this personality, he accepted the curse as it is, he with his folded arms and bowed head. You know what happened? The curse actually got overturned in the same lifetime. After the end of his life, he actually went back to Godhead. He didn't have to take next birth as a Shudra, as cursed by Vashishta Muni. Vashishta Muni then further again cursed someone, because that person was a king, and he had fed Vashishta Muni meat, a non-vegetarian food, human meat. And so that king was named Saudas, and he cursed him to become a demon. And Saudas was about to counter curse Vashishta Muni, but his wife, the great wife Damayanti, people say that why ladies are not glorified. It's not true. Bhagavatam mentions about some amazing great devotee ladies. So Damayanti saved him from counter cursing Vashishta Muni. Then Vashishta Muni again curses Maharaj Nimi, and in this case Nimi Maharaj also counter curses Vashishta Muni back. So you can see there is curses and counter curses, but this curse is very special, because in this instance the curse has been given by not a mature Muni, not a mature Brahmana. It has been given by a small boy, a young boy. And this young boy, hardly there is a reason that he was given, he has given this curse to Parikshit Maharaj. It's the will of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada mentions that actually Varaha Puran has mentioned that when Lord Varaha had actually killed Hiranyaksh, there were still a lot of demons who the Supreme Lord had not killed. If Supreme Lord doesn't kill a demon, then they can't achieve salvation. But Supreme Lord gave them a blessing that, okay, you will in the next time, when the age of Kali comes, you will take birth in the families of Brahmanas. So you will see these days in the Brahmin families, they will have different surnames according to the Gotras. Prabhupada has roughly translated things into caste, because caste was famous around that time, as an English transliteration for Gotras. But different Gotras like Dvivedi, Trivedi, and Chaturvedi, these were all the different Gotras where people were supposed to remember the Vedas. So in the modern day, Brahmanas, they don't have the knowledge. They don't recite the Vedas. They don't recite the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita or anything. They are not meek. They are not humble. And therefore, they have no quality of a Brahmana, because they are in reality, they are actually demons taking birth into the Brahmana family. It's very rare to find someone born in a Brahmana family and actually having very good qualities, meaning being meek, humble, and being learned. If someone is very, very learned, but actually is not meek and humble, then basically they are not learned. They might know all of the scriptures. They might be able to recite all of the scriptures. They might know the shlokas. They might have read many, many different scriptures. But because they are not developing this quality of being meek and humble, basically in our Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, such people are avinay, which means they are not in knowledge, which means they are not pandita. So in essence, this happened for a reason, and this was mainly also Brahmanas, they had to fall in the Kali Yuga for the Kali to actually take place. Because if Brahmanas are strong, if Brahmanas are pure, then you will see that automatically people will come and respect them. Because the purpose of a Brahmana is to accumulate knowledge, accumulate austerity, and accumulate devotion to the Supreme Lord and guide Kshatriyas. If these four things happen anywhere, then Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam that dhatte vedam hares tanum, that such Brahmanas, they become my tanum, they become my body. So you can see that actually the proper Brahmanas are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord directly. They are the body of the Supreme Lord. This is what Krishna says, I think at the end of 8th canto. So it's really important that Brahmanas don't become angry. Because when Brahmanas become angry, there is a problem for the whole universe. Some people might think that there is a problem for an XYZ person. That's not true. When a Brahmana becomes angry, when a proper qualified Brahmana becomes angry, it's not a problem just for him. It's not a problem just for the person who he has offended, but actually it's a problem for the entire universe. So the problem is that you can't find qualified Brahmanas. I don't know about our own movement, but you generally, anyone who is Brahman initiated, they are supposed to cultivate knowledge. They are supposed to be Vidya and Vinay Sampanne. So they are supposed to be Sampanna, or they are supposed to be extremely wealthy in knowledge, and they are supposed to be extremely wealthy in humility. If you see only knowledge and humility is missing, there is a problem. If you see only humility and you don't see that the person is cultivating any knowledge, there is still a problem. Because someone who really loves God wants to know about God more and more. If you become complacent in knowing God, if you have to serve God, then you have to know what's the best way to serve the God. And the knowledge of unlimited can never be complete. So the Brahmanas are constantly engaged in this duty of knowing God, and actually they are engaged in this duty of pleasing God. To please someone, you have to know the person. So Brahmanas, they can't become angry. And in Kali Yuga, that's why you will see fake Brahmanas. They are Brahmanas by surname. They have no good qualities. They are intoxicants. They are addicts, and they take intoxicants without any hesitation. They do all kinds of nonsensical activities. But then there are class of Brahmanas who, in Brahmanas, there are different categories of Brahmanas. There are Shrotriyas. There are those Brahmanas who will only recite certain Vedas. And then there are little higher Brahmanas, and then further high quality, some certain Brahmanas, they will do rituals properly, and when they do the rituals properly, they still don't know the God fully. They had no complete realization of Bhagwan. They have some realization of Brahman, but they are still Brahmanas, and they are to be respected. So there are these different categories of Brahmanas, and unfortunately people even in our movement, they forget to cultivate these qualities of a Brahmana. Becoming a Brahmana means nothing if you don't have Brahmanatva. Brahmanatva means the qualities, the prowess of a Brahmana. The prowess of a Brahmana is that a Brahmana who is a top quality Brahmana, that person is meek, humble, and everyone will like to associate with him, and everyone will like to respect him. Why? Because they don't command it. They don't demand it, they command it. They don't demand respect, but you will see that such persons are automatically respected just because of their good behavior. So clearly in Kali Yuga, with the advent of Kali, Shringi, who was the first such upstart Brahman, because the reason he was upstart Brahman is because he misused his power without using his intelligence on the basis of a relationship to his father. A Brahmana's power is not to be used without intelligence. A Brahmana is not supposed to become angry, is not supposed to curse anyone, If they are supposed to curse someone, if they are supposed to become angry, they should be doing it with intelligence. They can't just do it out of whims. And clearly Shringi had done exactly that. He just used it because his father was, he was a Brahmana's, he was a son of a Brahmana, therefore he did it. As opposed to this, if you look at the quality of Shamika Rishi, who was the father of Shringi Rishi, Shamika Rishi immediately, if you read the previous verses, he says, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, and Shamika Rishi says, he's scolding his son, and he's saying that if a king is thirsty and hungry, and even if he has put a snake on my neck, this is no offense at all. This is what Shamik Rishi says. This is no wrong at all, because he is tired, fatigued, hungry. So, he has done this. Although putting a snake around a Brahmana is an offense, but Shamik Rishi doesn't consider that as an offense at all, because he is using his intelligence. And his intelligence says that, look, king is not an ordinary king. He's a Rajarishi. He's the best amongst the royalty. And he's protecting, he's not just a king, he's an emperor, which means he was the emperor of the entire globe. And he was protecting all living entities, including animals. So Shamik Rishi was humble. He immediately disqualified the wrong act that king had done, because he knew that it was not wrong. He was just under the influence of hunger, thirst, fatigue. So here is a stark distinction between Shamika and Shringi. And immediately Shamik Rishi prays to the Supreme Lord. And look, Supreme Lord is very happy to accept his prayers, because Shamik Rishi is one, he is a devotee of the Lord. He is humble Brahmana. He is praying to the Lord, and he knows that he can, that a curse given, that his son has created a great offense to Vaishnava. It's now impossible for him to protect him from going to hell. And so he approaches the Supreme Lord, because only Supreme Lord can protect such a person. And with humility, he offers praise to the Lord. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that he mentions his son as a foolish child. And because he mentions his son as a foolish child, Supreme Lord is willing to forgive his son. Similarly, Durvas Muni had also committed an offense to the great devotee, and he went begging to the Lord, asking for forgiveness. You know what Durvas Muni had claimed to the Supreme Lord? So he had claimed that he has definitely offended a great devotee. I have definitely offended a great devotee of you, my Lord. But I know that your names are so powerful, your holy names are so powerful, that even if someone takes those names by mistake, they are freed from the hellish planets. Imagine, this is the last sentence of Durvas Muni. And Krishna immediately says that no, even my holy name can't protect a person who has offended a Vaishnav or a devotee of mine. Here, Parikshit Maharaj, like Ambrish Maharaj, is Raj Rishi. He is one of the greatest devotees. He is Mahabhagvat. He could have turned the curse himself. He didn't do that, thinking it to be the order of the Lord. And therefore, Shringi, at no cost, like Durvas Muni, would have been possible for himself to save himself. His only qualification to be saved was his father, who was a great devotee himself and had prayed to the Supreme Lord to forgive his foolish child. With that, I stop. I think I'm over time. No, I have 6 minutes still left. Do you have any questions? No questions? Everyone understood the subject matter, I guess. Okay, if you don't have questions, then can I ask more questions?
Yes, Prabhuji, because we learn from the questions. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. You can learn from the questions, and also when you read a subject matter, any shloka, if you just scroll to this shloka, just scroll a little bit up. Yeah, just go to the Sanskrit, just here. So here you see text 47, it says apapeshu. So here, Parikshit Maharaj has been, he has been called as apapeshu, which means he has never done any pap. He has never ever done any pap. Which other personalities in Srimad Bhagavatam, if you have read Srimad Bhagavatam or heard Srimad Bhagavatam, have been called apapeshu or apapasya?
Is it Narad Muni, Prabhuji?
Yes, Narad Muni is definitely one, but there are some very famous
Yudhishthir?
personalities.
Yudhishthir
Yudhishthir.
Maharaj?
Yudhishthir Maharaj, yes. Who else? Prahlad Maharaj.
Very good.
Prahlad Maharaj. Ambrish Maharaj. Also, there is one more famous pastime of curse. When Sudas had become a demon because of the curse of Vashishta Muni, then this great king Sudas, he goes into the jungle and he is about to eat a Brahmana and a Brahmani who were uniting for a child. And as soon as he picked up the husband to eat, the wife offers very beautiful prayers to this king, who is now a demon. This king Saudasa, this Brahmani wife, she is telling that my husband is not an ordinary Brahman. That Esha Brahmana Vidvams, that this Brahmana is Vidvan. So she is mentioning that there are many categories of Brahmanas, but my husband is not an ordinary one. My husband, he is a Brahmana, but he's not an ordinary Brahmana because he is Vidvan. And then he says that he's not just Vidvan, but he is also realized. He is also Paramatma realized. Esha Brahmana sa Vidvams, and then she says he's Brahmana, he's Paramatma realized. So Brahmanas who are actually on a progressive path of devotional life, they should also be realized, practicing to achieve realization. And not just that, she then says that he is apapasya, that my husband, he is apapasya. So you can't eat my husband because he's never done any pap. This will be like killing an embryo in the womb. And after saying all of this, Saudasa, the demon, the king actually becoming a demon, he actually eats the Brahmana. So it's mentioned in the scriptures that Brahmanas are never to be chastised. So here you see that Parikshit Maharaj, Shamik Rishi had known that Parikshit Maharaj would not actually chastise the boy, because Parikshit Maharaj is actually a Raj Rishi. He is a great devotee, and a great devotee of the Lord, they will never chastise Brahmanas. So even though a Brahmana had come and taken his life, and the next verse you will read about this, that a devotee of the Lord, they don't become upset or angry even when they are harmed or even killed. So here Parikshit Maharaj doesn't go and chastise Shringi also because he is a Brahmana, although he could have easily done that. Then there is this case of Devyani and I forgot the name of the other person. Does someone remember? Sarmishta. When there is a fight between the two ladies, one of them is a Kshatriya. I think Devyani is a Kshatriya. No.
Devyani is a daughter of
Shukracharya, that's right.
Sarmishta is the daughter of the king.
So Devyani is a daughter of Shukracharya, and so when there is a fight that breaks out between the two girls, Devyani, being the daughter of a Brahmana, she is trained even in her anger. When she is using swear words, her swear words are like, we are devotees of Lord Vishnu, and therefore we don't come to your level. So, even in their fight, when a Brahmana boy or a Brahmana lady is properly trained, then they are always referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if some of you are Brahman initiated, if someone of you are looking forward to becoming Brahman initiated, you should check and see if you always, in all circumstances and conditions, are referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your conversations as far as possible, as much as possible. So these are some of the points that I wanted to highlight about how a Brahmana should be meek, humble, how they lead their life, and how immature people, people like Shringi, can actually do great harm, and that a Brahmana is not supposed to become angry, because their anger not just disturbs themselves, it disturbs the entire planet. Like in case of Durvas Muni, it had caused a lot of disturbances. And then every time Vashisht gives curse, there is a problem and there is a repercussion for everyone else. So Brahmanas Brahmanas are only supposed to make decisions not just based on emotions, but actually based on intelligence. Here, Shringi made his decision purely based on emotion, nothing to do with intelligence. And that's why Shamik Rishi is cursing his boy's intelligence. He's an immature boy, doesn't have any intelligence. Any questions from anyone? So how many of you are Brahmanas here in this forum? You can raise your hands. You can unmute and say. No hand is up. And how many of you are aspiring to be a Brahmana one day, to get initiated, as in a Brahman initiation?
Prabhuji, I am Brahmin initiated, but I don't behave like a Brahmana, to be sure of that.
No,
Hare
no,
Krishna.
Mataji, you are humble. I'm very sure you are humble. But hopefully this session is a little bit informative and gives some understanding that Brahman should be with Brahmanatva. If you are a Brahman in name or in initiation and you're not cultivating knowledge, so reading scriptures, reading Prabhupada books is a must for a Brahmana. It might, someone might give an excuse that they don't have time. That excuse can never be given by someone who is Brahman initiated. They are supposed to cultivate knowledge constantly till the last day of their life, and cultivate this knowledge with spiritual knowledge so that they can serve better and serve with full realization. Two people will do sweeping of the floor in the temple of the Lord, but the person who is thinking more about the Lord in humility and serving with knowledge, with full consciousness, is better than someone who is serving because they must serve, because that's their duty. Because love is above duty, and love comes when you actually know the person. Therefore, Brahmanas, they should cultivate knowledge. They should try to do some austerity because it's must. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavatam repeatedly. It's also very important to understand that every time Krishna mentions Brahmanas, then he qualifies the Brahmanas with their qualities. Very few occasions, almost in 97-98% of the places, every time when Krishna has spoken about Brahmanas, Krishna has always qualified them with their qualities. In case of Durvas Muni also, he says that Upayam katheshyami tava vipra shunusvatat ayam hi atma bhicharate yatatam yahi machiram sadhushu prahitam teja prahartu karute ashivam. If you attack a sadhu, then if anyone attacks a sadhu, then the attacker himself will get attacked. Sadhushu prahitam teja prahartu karute ashivam tapo vidya cha vipranam. That the vipra is supposed to do tap and vidya. Tapo vidya cha vipranam nishreyasa in abhay. So these two things, tapo and vidya, will give them nishreyasa, meaning ultimate benefit. But on top of that, he says te eva durvinitasya. This word durvinita is extremely important. Te eva durvinitasya kalpete kartum anyatha. So even if you have cultivated all the knowledge, and if you are cultivating and you're doing austerity, tapo vidya cha vipranam. So if you're doing austerity, if you've cultivated knowledge, but if you are not mild in your behavior, if you're not, Prabhupada uses the word gentleman or gentle lady. So if you're not a gentleman or a lady, if you're not refined or or well behaved, should I say, not well spoken, properly speaking to people, not speaking out of turn, not following the etiquettes, and so he says that such an upstart who doesn't know how to speak well or how to behave well, actually, they will actually cause themselves, they will get the opposite results from cultivating the knowledge and austerity. Because someone cultivates knowledge and austerity, they can become very, very proud internally in the heart. They can become very hard-hearted. They can easily, say few things to other people and 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 possibly demean them or chop their egos like that. So the test of a Brahmana is whether they are well behaved or not. With all the knowledge and with all the austerity, have their knowledge and austerity made them proud or humble? And therefore, my spiritual master always says that inside everyone there is a good dog and a bad dog. It really, after doing any service, whether you feed a good dog or whether you feed the bad dog, if you feed the good dog, you will become humble. If you feed the bad dog, you will become egoistic. False ego will be boosted because you've just fed the bad dog, which is false ego. And with that false ego, you will become very proud. And over a period of time, all of this accumulated austerity and knowledge and accumulated pride will eventually lead in offense of other devotees, will eventually cause you more problems than solution. So as a solution, after doing any service, after doing anything good, whatever you get back, appreciation or criticism, you should offer both of them to your spiritual master. If you don't have a spiritual master yet, as in you are not initiated, you should offer it to Srila Prabhupada and say that this is what I did. I don't want anything out of it. I did it as a service, and here I'm offering this to you back. This will save one from becoming durvinita, becoming a dangerous person who will cause more problems. So those are few things about Brahminical qualities and how all of these qualities are now getting more and more lost. And if someone is not very conscious, Prabhupada mentions that one should be on guard again to have these qualities and watch out against the bad qualities. One should be on guard. It is in this purport right at the bottom, I think Prabhupada has mentioned. So Prabhupada says that there should be people who are born in the Brahmana family should be on guard. Those who have taken Brahman initiation in ISKCON, they have now been reborn again as Brahmanas. So they should also be on guard against these unwanted qualities. So with that, I stop. And Rasalila Mataji, I am passing it over to you. Thank you very much. And please forgive me of my offenses or if I've said anything which is out of turn or not in etiquette.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful, insightful class. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for, agreeing to facilitate our work. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
My pleasure. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you,
Um,
Prabhuji, for this nice class.
Thank
It was
you.
really like eye-opening about the Brahmanical initiation. Thank you. We see that even Lord Krishna, he does not chastise the Brahmanas. He says, "Namo Brahmani Devaya Go Brahmani Taisa Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namo."
Yes.
He take good care of the Brahmanas. Even we see when Bhrigu Muni, he hit Lord Vishnu on the chest. Lord Vishnu just stood up with Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi wanted to curse, that Lord Vishnu said, "No,
Yes.
He is a Brahmana, we don't curse. And he had those marks on his chest still when Bhrigu Muni wanted to test who is the supreme. So he does not. So who are we? Who are we to talk bad about the Brahmana, Prabhuji? Thank you very much for the nice class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for sharing, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.